ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. There's an NBA play-in doubleheader tonight with coverage starting at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. The Heat host the Bulls, then the Timberwolves host the Thunder. That second game is also on ESPN. The playoffs get started this weekend. Kevin Durant and the Suns open their first-round series at home against the Clippers Sunday night. ESPN's Nick Friedel.
They better do it now because they may not get another great chance that's in front of them at the moment. And I can tell you, I haven't been around that group the last few weeks. There is a confidence around them with Kevin, knowing that they believe he's the final piece in the moment.
Nick Friedel on Greeny. The San Francisco Giants will sign opening day starter Logan Webb to a 5-year, $90 million contract extension. From the NFL, free agent linebacker Bud Dupree will sign a 1-year deal with the Falcons. He was cut by the Titans in March. And at the Women's Hockey World Championships, Team USA plays a semifinal game tomorrow against the Czech Republic.
Coming up Monday, I'll tell you which team is already in trouble after losing game one of their series. Keyshawn J. Will and Max, Monday morning, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
All right, everybody, happy Friday. Welcome in. Kidder and Kev, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kidder. He's Kev Nash. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, though?
Happy Friday.
OH.
Beautiful outside, but it's not as nice as it's been all week. But I sometimes don't mind the overcast.
Yeah, a little overcast. Got a little rain earlier today, but it's still 70-plus degrees.
I got sunburned in the 70s this week. Pretty good.
Houseway.
I mean, look, you could look like Neapolitan ice cream. I mean, that's the strawberry, that's the vanilla. Well, I guess it's just strawberry and vanilla for now, but you see the point. But, yeah, I got the old golfer's glove tan line.
Oh, goodness.
It's my favorite tan line right there. That means it's golfing season. So there is that. But, again, I hope everyone's had a great Friday. We welcome you in. A lot to get into today. Interesting article that was put out by Dayton Daily News. Athletic director for the Dayton Flyers, Neil Sullivan, addressed a lot of the NIL issues and the tampering and everything that's going on. An interesting article that really sheds some light on stuff that really we didn't learn anything about, but a lot of people seem to be going at the athletic director, Neil Sullivan, saying, hey, we don't want to hear your excuses. We don't want to hear the crying. Everyone's dealing with it. This isn't a Dayton Flyers issue. This is a issue across the board. It's either adapt or fail, I mean, at this point. So we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. But I want to open up with, of course, it's our favorite game to play here on a Friday, Kev. It's been a while since we played this game on a Friday, but cap or no cap?
It's time for everyone's favorite segment. Cap or no cap?
All right, the rules for cap or no cap are pretty clear, pretty obvious, pretty easy. They're so easy that I'd like Kev to explain them.
I was going to say, that means you're going to explain them this week. No, I guess not. Cap equals a lie. No cap equals the truth. So basically, you'll ask a question. We will answer in cap or no cap fashion.
By the way, you threw out your OH and Dustin Taylor threw out the IO. So he responded right away. Spring game this weekend, by the way. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Which one you got there?
I got on CJ Stroud and Jackson Smith and Jigba. CJ played this year. Jackson Smith, not so much.
But one guy that quit on his team and the other guy that's hard to coach. I mean, a bunch of bums at Ohio State. I mean, it just depends on what articles you read, right? Like
going first round, baby. First round.
All right, so cap or no cap. All right, let's get into it. The NFL, let's just assume, Kev, that the Ravens and Lamar kiss and make up.
Okay.
Odell Beckham Jr. Was introduced yesterday in his introductory press conference. And, of course, right away, you do start to wonder, okay, OBJ, I think he's a celebrity. His name is big, but I think his name is bigger than his actual talent at this point in his career with everything that he's had to overcome. But the Ravens don't believe so, and his confidence, and good for him, doesn't believe so either. Let's assume Lamar and the Ravens kiss and make up, Kev. Assuming that Lamar is back and he is the quarterback, OBJ will be a 1,000-yard wide receiver. Cap or no cap?
Ooh, I'm going to go with no cap. I'm gonna go with no cap. Think if OBJ is out there the entire season and Lamar, like you said, we're presuming that they kiss and make up and he's there at camp and he's happy, he has his contract. I think he's gonna ball out. Ball out as in get 1,000+ yards. Don't ball out as in like his days as a New York Giant making one-handed catches and everything like that. He'll still make splash impact plays, but 1,000 yards receiving isn't like 1,500 yards or 1,800 yards that Jefferson had last year. I almost look at 1,000 yards receiving kind of like 1,000 yards rushing now. As much as we pass the ball in this league, 1,000 yards receiving is not a ton.
It's not, especially with that 17th game added. I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, you only have to average about 60, back when it was 16 games, you only needed to average about 60 rushing yards per game. When we're talking about 1,000-yard running backs, I remember people got mad at me for this. I didn't even think this was one of my hot takes. I'm like, it's wild as we put so much stock into 1,000-yard running backs, but a 1,000-yard running back is honestly, if you had 16 60-yard games, we would say that's 16 average games from a running back, but yet running backs are paid off those 1,000-yard seasons. Same things with wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
A 60-yard performance is not terrible, in receptions in a game. And that's what OBJ would have to accomplish, of course, if Lamar is his quarterback and that type of thing. The one thing I will say is this. Regardless of the opinion of Lamar, running quarterback, passing quarterback, yada, yada, the reason that we fall for this Lamar being a running quarterback thing is because that's what works in that offense, and that's what he has made work, unless he has this. I mean, if they try to change it too much, let me ask you this. The running stance has worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
If they are trying to change it too much and they are going to fall in love with the pass game and all this, like I almost feel like you have to find that balance. I don't think they should revert to a passing offense or a completely passing offense.
Right.
I think they need to still stick to what works, but also balance it a little more. I think at the beginning it was tolerable because, hey, you're coaching into the strengths, but now there was no, they didn't adapt to it. But I'm going to say cap. I don't think he's 1,000-yard wide receiver, mainly because I think he's not going to play 17 games. He's not going to play 16. I think this is a guy that hasn't played a full season since 2017 or 16, I believe. It's been a while, and him coming off those surgeries or whatever, and I think he has a slow start to the season. I am fascinated by that duo, though, if that ends up being the case, if Lamar does go back. So there you go.
Check this out. OBJ, in his 9-year playing career, he's had 5 seasons over 1,000 yards receiving, 4 seasons under 400 yards receiving. Like, that's a big sway. And obviously, years 1 through 3, it was over 1,300 yards, double-digit touchdowns and everything like that. Then he obviously got banged up. But, yeah, and then the Browns years and everything. But, yeah, like, there's a major sway. And the biggest thing you can take away from it is he keeps blowing out his knee.
And maybe he's blown all the knees out, so he's good. Now, he has no other knees to blow out anymore.
Right.
So we'll see what happens this coming up season, regardless of who the quarterback is. To the association we go now, Kev. The Lakers, we talked about this yesterday. You like the Lakers' chances against Memphis. But this isn't a first-round cap or no cap. This is a playoff as a whole. The Lakers are legit contenders to come out of the West. I didn't say to win it all, but the Lakers are legit contenders to come out of the West, cap or no cap?
No cap. You got LeBron James on your team. You always got a chance. Simple as that. I don't care where they're seated at. If they're in the tournament and you got LeBron James, you got a chance.
So I'm going to say right now, I think all of this is, the reason that it's no cap is because we don't know anything about Phoenix. But if Durant and Phoenix take off and they look like how they're supposed to look, I don't care if it's been a healthy AD and a healthy LeBron. I'm not picking anyone against Phoenix as far as that's concerned. But I'm going to say no cap for right now, that they are legitimate. No cap. Damn it. Say it with confidence. No cap. They are a legitimate title contender. Not title contender. Yeah, if you get out of the West, you're a title contender. And I think they have, actually, if it's LeBron and AD going up against Giannis in Milwaukee, they match up well there. They match up well against Philadelphia. Philadelphia ends up making it to the finals. So I think they are a title contender as a whole, which is wild. But I've never seen a team with so much range. They could be the worst team in the playoffs or the title contender. It's so random how the Lakers have this wide range. There's a lot of teams their identity already. Phoenix still trying to figure them out. The Lakers, we know what they're capable of, but it all comes down to whether or not AD and LeBron are healthy, AD more so than anything else.
Got a prediction for the Los Angeles Lakers. Not saying that they are going to go to the finals, but I think they're going to make it to the Western Conference Finals. I think, the second half of the season, everybody is super hype about D'Angelo Russell, former Buckeye, and, Schroeder and Reeves. Reeves is the third best player, by the way. That's cool. They helped those guys get to the playoffs. But it's playoff time now. And you know who I don't want shooting the ball? All due respect, D'Angelo Russell. The only two people I want shooting the ball are Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and Reeves a little bit. Everybody else, play defense and let them do their job, because this is the time that you pay LeBron James and Anthony Davis for. And knock on wood that Anthony Davis can make it through this series without getting hurt. Knock on wood that LeBron doesn't pull another hamstring or turn his ankle and everything like that, because this is showtime, and this is what we come to watch. This is where the casuals turn into super hardcore basketball fans that have opinions about everything. So everybody's going to be watching these games, and this is when LeBron James really truly shows up. And I think that Anthony Davis is about to destroy the Memphis Grizzlies. I think he's about to be out here 30 and 15 every night. I think he's about to destroy them.
Yeah, what's wild is those trades that were made at the deadline. Those trades were made to get the Lakers to the playoffs. They weren't made to carry them in the playoffs, as wild as that sounds. I mean, they got to do their job.
Yeah.
It was about, D'Angelo and some of those guys. It was about getting them to give LeBron, and if they were going to miss some time for the remainder of the regular season, they had some offensive, firepower, which they did not have before those trades. So it will be interesting to see what happens next. All right, back to the NFL we go, Kev. A topic that we kind of discussed a little bit earlier in the week. We've discussed it for a while now. I've been saying this is the Cincinnati Bengals. Been saying for a while, I just don't see how you pay T and Jamar and Burrow. Now, I'm not continuously trying to harp on this topic at hand, but The Athletic released an article that a lot of anonymous GMs have commented that they don't see how the Bengals could do this either. The one thing that's interesting about the NFL is there's not just one blueprint to succeed. There are multiple blueprints, but there is not one blueprint out there that does show that you could pay 2 wide receivers at market rate and a quarterback to make him the highest paid quarterback in the league. There's no blueprint out there. So I found that article interesting. Bengals fans got real defensive and everything else along those lines. But there was also reports and rumors and all this stuff that there was a deal that was done. Then the social media team for the Cincinnati Bengals, they continued to just post a bunch of random T. Higgins stuff. So it seemed like where there was smoke, there was fire. But that was over the weekend, Kev. We talked about that on Monday. You missed a day this week. I talked about this on my own. And yet here we are 5 days later, and there's still nothing. So I don't know what to make of this. So cap or no cap, Kev, the Bengals not will, but should. The Bengals should trade T. Higgins instead of re-signing him. Cap or no cap?
Cap. You know what those other GMs and other people are talking out of? They're talking out of fear. They're talking out of fear because they know that they don't have 2 number ones. The only other team out there that has a caliber wide receiver duo that the Cincinnati Bengals do is the Miami Dolphins, and that's with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. No other receiving core has these 2 type of wide receivers. They're talking out of fear. And I am 100% with the Cincinnati Bengals if they want to go, hey, man, we're just going to go all offense and our defense is going to be what it's going to be, because it's truly it's more than a luxury to have these type of weapons on your team. You saw that when Chase got hurt last year, T stepped up right in that spot. The running game got a little bit better because, they had to adapt. But guess what? If anybody else's number 1 receiver goes out, they're not going to be clicking like that. They're not going to win 3 or 4 like the Cincinnati Bengals did. So I say pay the man.
So
pay them all 3.
So cap or no cap? And by the way, I think, would you consider the Eagles with Smith or with Devontae Smith and AJ Brown?
AJ Brown is a dog, but I would think Jamar Chase is better.
Yeah, I agree.
I would think
and
he's
T
better.
over Smith.
Yes. So I would pick them over them too. But they're good too. They're very good.
I agree.
That's another one that I forgot about for sure.
There's only 3 teams that have 2 dynamic duo wide receivers
like
that. The Browns at one point we thought that they had that when they got OBJ and all this stuff, and it just never really worked out. When they had Jarvis as well, it just never worked out that way. So the Bengals should trade T. Higgins instead of re-signing him, cap or no cap. So they should sign him. I'm going to say that is no cap, and not because I'm afraid of T. So earlier in the week, I discussed this, that I feel like if the Bengals were very good at drafting offensive line, then I would feel more comfortable with it. Like, the Bengals are known for drafting wide receivers. I could see, like, if the New England Patriots had this situation, Kev, where, okay, they stink at drafting wide receivers. You finally have one. Do everything in your power to not let it go, because you don't know when you're going to get another one, right? The Bengals in my lifetime, I mean, it just seems like every half a decade, they're pulling some of these big name wide receivers. I mean, you go from Chad Johnson to Ocho Cinco. I mean, all in one. I mean, no, you go from Chad Johnson to AJ Green to T Higgins to Jamar Chase. Like they've never had a hard time being able to draft that position. So it's like one of those where you hold on to Jamar or to T if you're afraid that you won't be able to replace his production or find it elsewhere. The Bengals are the one team that I would give kudos to and say, hey, they actually do a very good job at drafting that position. So if you keep T Higgins, it's not that you're keeping T Higgins, it's that you're keeping him in spite of another position financially. It's not that you're keeping him in spite of another position. You're going to have that position, but you won't have that financial flexibility to hold down another position. You bring Orlando Brown Jr. over. Of course, you have Kappa. You have these other guys in that O-line. They can't draft the O-line to save their lives right now. That's why they've had to, invest so much money into an average at best offensive line at this point. I just feel like they need to have a little bit more financial capital and flexibility to take care of that O-line, to take care of Joe Burrow. If they were great at drafting the O-line, I would say, you know what, fine, I trust you to keep filling that O-line, put your money here, but we'll see what ends up happening. But I do think that this idea that there's just no way they should trade him, I disagree with that. But I do think they're going to keep him, and I have no problem with it because they're the only team in the NFL that realistically has 2 number ones. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Someone said the Chargers, too. The Chargers have
Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I think Mike Williams played like 7 games this year, and I'm not even sure how many games Keenan Allen played, and they're about to cut Keenan Allen, too.
Yeah, because someone countered at me the other day and said, well, the Chargers did it. Well, the Chargers had a rookie quarterback. Remember, the caveat is you're about to pay your quarterback. If you have a rookie quarterback, by all means, go. That's why the Browns at the time.
And Mike Williams was in the middle of his rookie deal.
Yeah, when the Browns went and got OBJ and Jarvis, Baker was on his rookie deal. Like, this would be the first time that a quarterback is paid max dollars, and there's no max in the NFL, market dollar, and then same thing there. So, interesting nonetheless. All right, last one, Kev, cap or no cap? We're talking a lot about the NFL draft coming up, and we know Justin Fields is doing his thing in the NFL, starting to get some momentum going. CJ Stroud, I know, was the favorite to be the number 1 overall quarterback taken off the board. Now it looks like number 2. It doesn't really matter. It's still pretty dang good. Another Buckeye quarterback will be taken off the board next season. Kyle McCord will be drafted in the first round of next year's NFL playoffs. Kev, cap or no cap?
Cap. He will be a senior at The Ohio State University, leading us to the national championship.
So the reason I messed this whole thing up. So I was supposed to ask Kev first, not Jackson Smith and Jigba, but Marvin Harrison Jr. Is he going to be a Heisman favorite next year?
Ooh.
Is he going to be a Heisman favorite? No, hold on. Not Heisman contender, not a Heisman favorite. But he could be a Heisman. Yes, a contender, absolutely. How long will he be a contender? That's going to be on Kyle McCord. So I feel like if you look at, there hasn't been, now there was no Buckeye wide receiver in the Heisman finalist this year, right?
No.
But like, if we believe that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a Heisman candidate, that can't happen unless Kyle McCord has a breakout season. That's why I framed this question this way. Kyle McCord going to the NFL a year from now, especially if they beat Michigan and win a national championship and all this type of stuff, unless you want to run it back and all that. But Kyle McCord could say, we have good receivers coming in, but I won't have Marvin Harrison Jr. the next year. I'm going to say no cap. I'm going to say yes, he will be taken in next year's, because for this to happen, Ohio State has to be Ohio State. Marvin Harrison Jr. has to be the best receiver in the country. And to do that, his numbers have to back that up. And the numbers backing that up will come from a great season from McCord. I don't think you can have one without the other. Marvin Harrison Jr. can't be Marvin Harrison Jr. with an average Kyle McCord. That's just my take. I think there's a good chance we could have another Buckeye quarterback taken next year, especially if CJ Stroud goes and kills it. If he goes and kills it in the league this year as a rookie, I could see okay, now we got something rolling at Ohio State when it comes to the quarterback position.
Yeah, I'm with you because Marv isn't necessarily like one of those just like, hey, man, just get it to him quick on a bubble screen and he takes it 80 yards. Like, he's a pure wide receiver. He's not a return specialist. He's not a slot guy. He's a pure big body receiver, a number 1, go out there, make tough catches against contested guys, has the speed to go deep and everything like that. He's a pure, he's 6'4". I don't know too many 6'4" punt returners outside of Randy Moss's 1 year at Marshall. So, that's not his type of game. So he's running real receiver rights. He's running slants. He's running digs. He's running crossers. He's running post routes and everything like that. So he's going to need a quarterback to get him the ball.
And that was cap or no cap. All right, Kenner and Kev with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll step away for a few moments. I do want to pick up with this conversation on the other side because the expectations for Kyle McCord, we talked so yesterday when we had Dan Hope from 11 Warriors on. We were talking about this very same topic about, I wanted to know, I was like, there's a good chance that whoever the quarterback is for Ohio State, that we're going to see Kyle McCord at Ohio State for 2 more years or Devin Brown for 2 more years. But with this Kyle McCord thing, this isn't, he can leave after this year. Like, he could be here for 2 more years, but he can leave after this upcoming year. Devin Brown, you at least get him for 2 more years. That would be the perk to going that route if you felt like you want to create some kind of longevity there, or at least some, back-to-back years, like what they were able to get with Justin Fields and CJ Stroud.
Right.
But we'll pick up with this conversation on the other side. Kenner and Cav, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The forecast says a chance of showers and 58 tonight. Showers and possible thunderstorms. 79 Saturday. Rain and 74 on Sunday. I'm Rick Schrepp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Hi, Greg McAfee here from McAfee Heating and Air. Inflation is hurting families. Gas and food prices continue to soar, but skilled trade jobs are paying at an all-time high rate. Why keep working for less? If you are experienced in HVAC, have a great attitude, love serving people, and enjoy working hard, apply today at mcair.com. That's mcair.com.
Houday Nation, Betfred has come all the way from England to the great state of Ohio with over 50 years of sports betting experience. No emperors, no movie stars, just a sportsbook you can trust. The Betfred Sportsbook app will be available on January 1st, 2023. Until then, download the Bengals app or go to betfredsports.com and have a chance to win Bengals tickets and exclusive merchandise. Official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Everybody's going to want new Kentucky Fried Chicken nuggets, made with their hand-breaded original recipe. You've never had nuggets like these. That's finger-licking good.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine. Fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte combo orders.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
A good work partner knows what you need before you need it. That's how it feels when you work with Cintas. Your dedicated Cintas service reps get to know your business and have the industry knowledge that can help you prepare for what's ahead. They'll deliver your team's workwear freshly laundered. Make sure your first aid and safety supplies, mats, mops, and towels are stocked when you need them. And your fire extinguishers are inspected and in working order. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Ready to get your business the help it deserves? Find out if it qualifies for ERC assistance in less than 8 minutes. Up to $26,000 per employee could be waiting. Go to getrefunds.com to get started.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Kenner and Cav back with you here on a Friday. Hope everyone's had a great week and a great day leading up to this point. So we're off and rolling as we close out the week. Cincinnati Reds, Phillies tonight, 6:40, the first pitch right here on Dayton's radio, home of the Reds, 1410 Wing AM. Another impressive performance from Nick Lodolo last night. He gets the win. The Reds get the win. Most importantly, they improved to 5-7. But it's wild. I guess last year they had 40. They were involved in 41 run games. It was like, you know, and this year
41
run games. Yeah. 40. Did I say it right? Yeah.
No, you said it right. I heard it wrong.
41 run games, and they already lead baseball this season with the most one-run losses, which is pretty wild. So, no, they're just fun to watch. And like last night, it was just they were not killing it with the long ball. I mean, it was just constant, just single, advance the runner. It's like, and I heard the Cowboy say it during the broadcast. He's like, hey, it's like death by a million paper cuts. And that's exactly what the Reds offense is. Because I'm always questioning David Bell, and so kudos to him and everyone on that coaching staff, managerial staff, for basically just, okay, like we're not a power hitting team. So we're not going to send 9 guys up to the plate and have 9 guys trying to knock it out of the ballpark. Put the bat on the ball, put the bat in play. There is no shift anymore, and this team is taking advantage of that. We talked about it on yesterday's show a little bit, that I think that the one rule change that has benefited the Reds the most, maybe as much as any team out there, is the banning of the shift. Because if the shift was still put in place, I don't know if this team even has won a game yet this season. You know, we're talking about a 13-0 Rays team. I don't know if the Reds win a game at all if the shift is still legal, because this year, all their runs are being scored not off home runs. It's just off small ball, old school, traditional small ball. And those opportunities would not have been there last year. And those wouldn't have been there had the shift been in place. So, yeah, maybe a slight hot take, but I almost wondered, when you look at how a lot of these games have played out, they don't have anyone. Their best home run hitter can't hit the ball, or he's hitting the ball. He's hitting 300, Tyler Stevenson, but he's not hitting it out of the ballpark.
Right.
We're 12 games in, 12 games in. He's only hit one home run. And that's fine because they're finding other ways to put the ball in play and to get runs to the plate, and that's all that matters. But game 2 with the Phillies tonight. And the other thing I thought about, of the top 6 scoring teams in baseball right now, the Reds have run into pretty much almost all of them. They're going to have the Rays coming up. So the Rays are the number 1 most, the highest scoring team in baseball right now. But they have the Rays. They've already played the Cubs, obviously Philly and the Braves. I mean, 4 of the top 6 teams, as far as the most explosive offenses are concerned, the Reds pitching, they're not easing into the season. They're just getting hit hard every single game, and they're actually kind of hanging, with them. So it's losers mentality. I get that. I'm not praising 5-7, but it's a lot better than when they were 2-23 a year ago. I'll keep harping on that. But yeah, I picked the over for a reason on this team. I know Hal McCoy and Marty were both kind of in between on what to expect, and I do not blame them whatsoever. But Marty said it, himself too, when he was on with us, Kev. Can't get any worse.
Right.
I mean, you could always win less than 65 games, or 62 games, but I think you could see the improvement. It was a fun game last night. I was sitting out on the deck, had a cigar, sitting back watching the Reds, beautiful weather outside, had a little fire. It was awesome. So
blazed up a little, eh?
Reds looked pretty. They were fun to watch last night. We'll see if they could do it again tonight against a Phillies team that, again, should be giving the Reds more trouble than they have. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We got Kevin Nash's The Hurry Up coming up around the corner. We'll get to that here shortly. So I threw out the question a little bit ago in cap or no cap. We were talking about, and we even had this brief discussion yesterday with Dan Hope from 11 Warriors. It's a situation that we don't know anything about Kyle McCord. We've seen him in mop-up duty, or we saw him get that, select start against Akron or whoever it was out of the MAC a few years ago at the shoe. But we don't really know much about him. We thought last year we'd get to see him in a lot of situations. We really didn't. But the bottom line is this is his car to drive at this point, unless Devin ends up having some just major, summer from here on out and takes that job or whatever. But everything resides on him. I mean, if he's not as good as what we expect, Kev, who was the last bad quarterback for Ohio State?
Bad quarterback for Ohio State, Joe Bauserman.
Who was the 11 quarterback? Who
Who
led them that year in the transition year with Fickle?
Yeah, that was Bauserman. That was Bauserman, and then they made the switch over to Braxton.
Okay. So, and that's what we lightly talked about yesterday, but like, it's been a while since, I mean, there was a point where Tate Martell could have very easily been the quarterback for Ohio State. And I think that could have been a disaster.
I'm so always on the other side on that.
You think it would have worked?
Disaster? No. I think he would have been a good quarterback at Ohio State.
He's mentally unraveled.
I just think, like, I'm not trying to say this and discredit anybody out there or any of the quarterbacks that ever came through Ohio State, but there's a ton of talent there. There's a ton of talent at offensive line, a ton of talent at running back, a ton of talent at wide receiver. It's not a situation where, like, you or I could go in there and be putting up 40 points a game. It would have looked totally different because he's not the same passer that Haskins or Fields or CJ Stroud was. He's more of a runner and everything like that, but they would have devised a scheme for them still to score a lot of points because there's a whole bunch of guys on that team. And I mean, for the people that love the star system, he was a 5-star.
And I've always said this too. I know we joke about him, and I joke about him especially, but I remember that day, all the message boards, all the message board websites, when Tate Martell signed, I remember it was in my office when that happened. And I remember all the Buckeye fans we had in our office, they went nuts when Tate Martell signed with Ohio State. Yeah. So it's not like he was like a bum by any means. But I bring this up because Kyle McCord is one of those things where it's like, we have no reason to believe that he's not going to be a Heisman contending quarterback. Like, I just feel like for Ohio State to be Ohio State, there's really no reason why he wouldn't be a Heisman contending quarterback. I didn't think CJ Stroud had a great year last year. Well, he statistically did, but there was a lot of games where I never felt like he just popped off the page. Mm-hmm. This isn't a shot at him by any means, but I just feel like it was just kind of like we've almost got to the point where we expect it, so we're not as impressed with it anymore. And I just feel like for Ohio State to be Ohio State, you have to have great quarterback play, which is automatically going to put you in that Heisman conversation. So this is why, cap or no cap earlier, I said Kyle McCord will be in the draft next year. I think that if he has the season that a Buckeye quarterback is expected to have, and if CJ Stroud goes 1 or 2 and kills it in the league, he's not going to risk, in my opinion, coming back another year. And I don't care how good the receivers are at Ohio State, his meal ticket, and that sounds like I'm, shaving off credit to him, Marvin Harrison Jr. If Marvin Harrison Jr. has this Heisman level type season, and so does he, they're going to be correlated together. I just think that this might be the only year we see Kyle McCord. If Ohio State lives up to who they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to look like on the field offensively, I could see this as a situation where Kyle McCord ends up declaring for the draft next year, Kev, because for him to come back without Marvin Harrison Jr. would be kind of a gamble, I think, as far as that's concerned. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I hope you're right, because if you're right, that means we're probably playing in the national championship game and potentially hoisting the trophy. So I hope that's the case. I hope that he comes in here and balls out and breaks all types of records and scoring at will, and he's a one-year starter and he's off to the NFL and gave us a national championship.
There's a ton of great wide receivers are coming into play here. We know that there's no shortage of wide receivers, but we also know, we feel like the Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, right into Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Mbuka last year stepped in and replaced the production. I mean, if you look at the fact Marvin Harrison Jr., as great as his numbers were, it was only like a couple hundred more yards than Mbuka did. Mbuka is not getting really any attention as much as what he should. He is living in the shadows. But if you go look at his numbers, if you did the blind resume test, I don't think you would be able to. I mean, you would know that Marvin Harrison Jr.'s numbers that were higher were his, but Mbuka was just as elite last year as far as the statistical standpoint is concerned. But I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash, 518-1410. 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. But yeah, Kev, it will be interesting. So if Mbuka has a standout year and he comes back another year, then it's one of those things where maybe Kyle McCord does come back and says, well, I'll just hitch my wagon to him and we have a great second year and go from there. But we'll see what happens as far as that's concerned.
Absolutely.
518-1410. Kev, who's up?
We got Clifford, line 1.
Clifford, what's up, sir? How are you?
Hey, what's good? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Good.
Man, I was really hoping to get the small school to win the championship in the tournament.
You talking basketball?
Because I know how you don't like the small schools, how you say that they shouldn't get a chance and all this stuff. So I was hoping so much. I wanted to rub it in so bad, but I didn't get a chance. I really didn't get a chance to do that. So this time.
Well, Clifford, here's the deal. Like, so when you're talking the Final Four and all the small schools that made the run, I mean, my point on that is, like, for me, for March Madness, I'm always a big fan of the upsets for that first weekend. And then after that, I want my big heavyweight blue blood showdowns. That obviously was not the case this year in this tournament. It still made for a very fun and entertaining tournament. Ratings and the ticket sales, all that stuff reflected some of the talking points that I've used over the years. But it didn't kill the tournament by any means. The tournament was not a success because of a bunch of random named schools in there. So it didn't kill it by any means.
Yeah, but I always tease about that. But my reason for calling is about, did you say who was the worst quarterback Ohio State had? Or
I'm trying to think of just less than impressive quarterback that Ohio State's had. It would have to, like Kev said, Bowserman.
I say Herb Street. No.
No, it's not a bad answer. I'm just saying, like, as far as like in this recent history, like recent time, like, I mean, you look at the trail of quarterbacks, like what's the last one that we stop at and say, oh yeah, that wasn't a good era right there.
Right. Okay, thank you.
All right, take it. Appreciate you, Clifford. But
starting that topic early,
he went all the way back. I know we had that conversation yesterday, but
yeah, I would definitely say someone of the ilk of Steve Belisari was a lower tier quarterback for Ohio State. I mean, Belisari was a safety, I want to say like his freshman and sophomore year, and then transitioned over to quarterback. When's the last time you seen a safety play quarterback? You know what I'm saying?
The NFL is usually the opposite, quarterback to another position.
Yeah, and then that brought in the era of Joe Germain, and he helped us win the Rose Bowl. I think it was the Rose Bowl. Yeah, I think there was a Rose Bowl with David Boston and the guys. So yeah. There's been some up and down quarterback play, but Ohio State is not the only big time school to ever have shaky quarterback play.
No, I mean, like, you could do this with Alabama as well. I mean, Alabama and Ohio State both they elevated their quarterback game roughly around the same time. And like, they've never had bad quarterback play. I mean, there was no bad quarterback play at Ohio State before. It just wasn't what we're watching right now, where we're expecting to see these guys be taken high in the NFL draft and all that type of stuff. So Kinner and Cap, 1410 ESPN Radio. Kev Nash brings us the hurry up when we come back.
the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save on the brands you trust. Right now, buy a DeWalt 20-volt Power Stack Max 2-pack battery for $199. Get a select DeWalt Bear tool free with savings starting at $139. Plus, you'll always save big on job lot quantities when buying select building supplies in bulk. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities. Discount taken at time of purchase. Battery and charger not included with free items. Valid 5-3.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns. Here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you own a small to medium-sized business that kept employees on payroll through COVID, you may have a big cash refund waiting for you. The Employee Retention Credit is a tax credit of up to $26,000 per employee. And now, more businesses than ever qualify. The experts at RefundsPro.com specialize in cutting through the red tape of qualifying for this government program. Most of their refunds are over $100,000. Even businesses that have received PPP funds may be eligible. And there are absolutely no fees unless you receive a refund. So there's no reason not to apply. If your business experienced shutdowns, limited capacity, supply chain challenges, or reduced revenue due to COVID, you likely qualify. RefundsPro.com has already helped hundreds of businesses. So don't lose the refund you're owed by missing the deadline. Get started today with a free 5-minute questionnaire at RefundsPro.com. That's refunds with an S, pro.com.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-280-2288. That's 800-280-2288. 800-280-2288.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
By now, you should know Audio Etc. has all the same sales and deals on TVs and projectors as everyone else. But did you know we also have some of the world's best hi-fi? Hi, this is Kirby from Audio Etc. And we do have some of the best home theater, high-fidelity gear on the planet. Not only do we have your favorite brands like Klipsch speakers and SVS subwoofers, but audiophile greats from Bowers & Wilkins, Kef, NAD, Marantz, Cambridge, Mark Levinson, and plenty of vinyl and tube gear. Plus exotics you only see in the magazines. Stop by today and visit Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom and see and audition the best audio and video it has to offer. While you're in, check out our huge selection of pre-owned vintage gear. A great way to afford great gear otherwise out of reach, or revisit old classics. Audio Etc. Sound advice you can trust. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio
Yo, etc.'s crazy cool showroom.
If you haven't been to Chevrolet of Troy, you have to stop in today. Selection has never been better with over 300 new and pre-owned vehicles available, in stock and ready to go. It's the best in the region. We always accept employee and supplier pricing, and we make financing easy. Customer service is our top priority because we care about you. With thousands off MSRP, a full-service, state-of-the-art dealership, and huge selection, make Chevrolet of Troy your first choice. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Ken and Cat back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. A very interesting article, Dayton Daily News, released earlier today. Dave Jablonski covers the Flyers, does a great job, but he had a chance to catch up with the athletic director, Neil Sullivan, and they talked about a laundry list of things, of course. But the thing that highlighted this article more than anything was Neil Sullivan's comments and views on NIL and how obviously it has just kind of decimated, college basketball. But the thing is I always say you could always tell the teams that are really being impacted by it and the teams that are thriving by it. The teams that are thriving by NIL and by the transfer portal and everything else, they're not commenting on it. They're like, everything's fine over here. Mm-hmm. We're good. The teams that keep getting plucked and having their best players taken away or tampering and other stuff, those are the teams that are crying foul more than anybody else. It's easy to kind of, read through the lines a little bit. But I am surprised. Flyer fans who usually everything that comes out about this program, they usually support it no matter what. I am shocked, and we don't have to go into this on detail because I know you haven't had a chance to look at it. Mm-hmm. I'm shocked at how Flyer fans are like, they haven't turned on Neil Sullivan, but they are like, we don't want to hear this. Like, my thing is Dayton's done a good job even before NIL really took over. They've been dominating as far as transfers are concerned. I mean, a lot of their even tournament runs have been highlighted by some key transfers. I mean, Seibert from Ohio State, Charles Cook, and that was really before the NIL and the transfer portal era even began. And then you look at Tumani Kamara. I mean, like they've gotten some major transfers that have come over and helped spearhead it. Some of those transfers haven't worked out, but they've gotten guys from Nebraska. They've gotten guys from Florida. They get a lot of big-time transfers. Now because they're being plucked, now you want to go to the media and talk about how hard this is, but you've benefited from the portal. So I think that's why people are frustrated. At the end of the day, we don't care how you win, just win. And Flyer fans, I think, are getting impatient for the first time in really my time being here, to be honest with you.
So for me, it's twofold. He's right. Every school has a different approach to NIL, and every school and every city that you're in plays a major part of what you're able to produce NIL wise, not only the city that you're in, but also your alumni base and who's a part of your collective. So that's one. And I believe that the athletic departments have a right to go out there to the media to try to explain to their fan base about why they're able or unable to keep guys or able to go get guys out of the transfer portal. Those may be the 1,000,000% truth. And I do believe it's the truth.
Oh, yeah.
But from a fan's perspective, and this is where I'll switch to the team that I follow most heavily and root for the most, Syracuse basketball. So there's a player on Syracuse's team, well, former player now, Jesse Edwards. He's from the Netherlands. So they've been recruiting him since he was like 16 years old. He comes to Syracuse. First year, no playing time. Second year, about 10 minutes a game. third year, oh man, he's averaging a double-double. He's coming along. His fourth year, he averages 17 points and 12 rebounds and 3 blocks a game. He hits the transfer portal. So then Syracuse Athletics comes out with their reasoning why he is choosing to go into the transfer portal because of NIL. For whatever rules there are that they can only offer X amount of dollars because he's a foreign exchange student, basically, and they're unable to match those numbers of the other schools. Those all may be true. But me being a Syracuse basketball fan, see a kid that y'all identified, got to come to your school, you developed, and now Kansas is about to reap the benefits of it. So you did all the hard work in getting him to come to your school, getting him to stay at your school without him going back home to the Netherlands or going to another school. He's millions of miles away from his family. So you did all the hard work, getting him to stay at your school for all this time and develop. And now when you actually have good players around him and he's at his best, you're not going to make it work to make sure he comes back for his fifth and the final year, the bonus year you got for COVID. You're going to let Kansas reap the real benefits of this? That is something, as a fan, I can't accept. I can't accept that. I can't accept whatever reason you're giving me. I can't accept it because you did all the hard work up front. And now that we're seeing, oh, man, you guys are right. This dude really is good. And now we're about to start seeing him play for the Big 12. We're going to see him go up against Baylor. He's going to see him wearing Kansas Jayhawk material. No, we don't want to see that. And furthermore, as a fan, we don't care. We don't care. You got to do what you got to do to keep the kids or get better basketball kids into your program. So as a fan, I'm very upset. So I can only imagine what the UD fan base is saying after reading that article. Like you said, I didn't get a chance to read it, but I'm sure it's around the same lines that the Syracuse people tried to give us Syracuse basketball fans. Oh, this is the reason why we can't do X, Y, and Z.
So while we're on it, didn't mean to go here with this. My bad. We have the hurry up coming up, but while we're here, the reason this has picked up momentum is obviously Dayton, 20+ win season, number 2 or number 3 team in the A10. They get to the A10 championship. It's wild. Like this is the result of a healthy program. A healthy program. When a 20+ win season, number 3 in your conference, and you lose in your tournament championship game, when that's considered a bad season by your fans, that's a result of you doing something right because you've raised the expectations of your fans to expect more. So I know it seems like it was a bad season for Dayton. It wasn't. Anthony Grant's winning a lot of games out there. I criticize Anthony Grant, Coach Grant a lot, and it's not really criticizing him. It's just the expectations aren't being met. And that's not a hot take. That's just the reality of it. So with that being said, this is happening because there's been a lot of talk about Deron Holmes going to Duke. There's been a lot of message boards with Duke. There's a lot of rumor mills going out there that Deron Holmes is going to decommit from Dayton, or not decommit from Dayton, but enter the transfer portal and go to Duke. You have till April 23rd to announce your intentions for declaring for the NBA draft. And I still think that that's something he's going to do. I think that he is going to declare for the draft. I think he's going to get that evaluation. Same thing that Obi Toppin did years ago. And then he has a real tough decision to make at that point of whether or not he just wants to gamble and just get drafted and develop in the league and just get the 2-way contract, or come back to college and develop another full season. He watched Obi Toppin do it. Can he do the same thing? The problem is Obi Toppin saw what he had around him and said, okay, I know from what they've told me I need to work on to get to the league. I know I can work on all that, come back to Dayton and be on a stage with the pieces around me that's going to elevate me and get the most out of me as well. You can't say that about right now Deron Holmes.
Right.
So Deron Holmes is going to declare for the draft. This is how I envision this happening. Declare for the draft. He's going to get his evaluation, and then he's going to have to weigh, go back to Dayton, where I have to be the guy again. And the whole reason that the people started nitpicking it, he had to do everything. He should have just been being big in the post, being big and athletic, crashing the boards. And instead he had to post up every time down the floor. Him and Kamara had to split, who was going to touch the ball in the post every time. What Anthony Grant doesn't get enough credit for is they had no guards, so they had to change it up offensively to go to that. But I still don't think the guards that they've gotten in the portal yet, even that Enoch Cheeks that they got from Robert Morris, I'm not going to put all the faith in the world that all of a sudden that kid's just going to come in and turn it around at the guard position. So it would be a gamble to come back to Dayton. I don't think next year this team is built to allow him to succeed to the point to where he can just knock out all the deficiencies that were shown in his game last year. Duke is a realistic possibility. You go to Duke, you average 8-9 points a game with every single other talent around you. And my gosh, he's still going to be a top draft pick or whatever when it's all said and done. So that's why the fans getting agitated with Dayton. What's going on? Dayton, I've always said, is in the middle ground because Dayton's like seeing Robert Morris players and mid-major players transfer to UD. UD fans aren't happy with that. They don't care. No offense to Enoch Cheeks. Watched him play. Great player. Not Dayton player, though. These aren't the guys that Dayton fans that were wanting, because Dayton is that mid-tier program that they have that type of success that when guys go to the Power Fives or the high majors and they run into situations where they aren't getting the playing time or their role's not being developed. Well, I'm good enough to play at Georgia like Chumani Kamara. I'm good enough to play at Florida. I'm good enough to play at Nebraska, but my role's not developed here because there's so much other talent around. I can go to Dayton, play right away, play in front of 13,000 fans, have a chance to get to the tournament, play for a guy in Anthony Grant that's coached in the league that can get me there. That was what made them sexy. Well, now they're not getting to the tournament. Now, since Obi Toppin, it just seems to be an excuse train every single season as to why they're not accomplishing their goals. Now you have guys transferring out, where before it was Dayton was the place to transfer to, because you transfer there to play in front of fans, get the full experience. Now expectations are not being met, and now guys are leaving. And I think losing a guy like Deron Holmes, if he goes to the draft, that's the best thing that can happen to Dayton. Him coming back could be detrimental to Dayton, because if they don't have talent around him and he ends up not being as good as he should be next year because of that, that's a mark against Dayton. And then if he transfers to Duke, that's another mark against Dayton, because like I said, Dayton, as long as they're winning and accomplishing goals, they're going to be where everyone wants to go. But when they're not doing it, they're not a sexy landing spot. And that's the unfortunate part about this. I think this is a mess right now. It's not a mess that you can't clean up. This could be easily cleaned up. One good season, one trip back to the tournament, and you're right back to being Dayton. This isn't a bad program. It's just a mess right now. They got to find a way to clean it up. But the quotes in here, this is Neil Sullivan. It's outrageous and out of control. That's the best way I can say it. I guess I'll be blunt about it. There are very few NIL rules and regulations, but to the NCAA's credit, if there is much credit to give, there are a couple clear rules that are written in what I call fifth grade plain English. So he's becoming very just combative here and all that. He goes, one of those is that recruiting conversations between boosters, collectives, and prospects are just not allowed. Let's just be cool here with what's allowed and not allowed. Like, I don't like when ADs go into that, because every school does things a little shady. So I don't think we should be bringing up other school shadiness, is all I got to say. Fans just don't want to read this. They want to read what you're going to do about it.
Right.
I'm rambling. Last point here. I give Wright State a ton of credit. This isn't an opportunity to praise Wright State while UD's down. That's not what this is. But I give Bob Grant, their athletic director, a ton of credit. 2 years ago, they made the first four. Or a year and some change ago, they made the first four. They get their first tournament win. Tanner Holden, Grant Basile, and Trey Calvin. Those three superstars all on the big stage. They got Ohio State takes Tanner Holden, Grant Basile, goes to Virginia Tech. And a lot of schools wanted him. A lot of NIL money was involved, plucked him away. I know people behind the scenes at Rice, they were frustrated about it. They were ticked off about it, but they remained quiet. They didn't come to the media and complain about it until they had a plan. Bob Grant just addressed the media about a month and a half ago. An article on Dayton Daily News said, it was unfortunate. We feel like the team we had this year, we were supposed to have those. We would have had a much different season, and they would have been a very, very good mid-major basketball team. He goes, but we sat down and said, okay, Coach Nagy says, like, is he going to leave basketball because this isn't what he has grown to love growing up and coaching this? They've had to adapt. So they sat down and they made a plan. Now their plan is what every other school's doing, but not a lot of NIL opportunities in mid-major college basketball. Collectives are being formed for Wright State. You can laugh and mock that all you want, but it's the truth. I give Bob Grant and Wright State a ton of credit, because they didn't go to the media, Kevin, just cry and say, man, it's tough. Everyone's taking our players. They said, we understand why people are taking our players. That speaks volumes of the players that we're developing. So we have to have a plan to retain our talent, to keep our talent. And that's what they unveiled, was a plan to keep that from happening. And you know what happened? They kept Trey Calvin. Which is great for Wright State. But this is what fans wanted. I know as a Wright State fan, I was like, that's awesome. I didn't want to read an article of Bob Grant just saying, oh man, every time we develop a good player, someone's going to come and take him. There will be players developed. There will be players taken, but there's going to be players like Trey Calvin that stay. What UD fans want is, okay, Neil Sullivan, you're the athletic director. I don't want to hear that it's tough and that there's, violations going on behind the scenes and that teams are plucking your players. We don't want to hear that. What are you doing to stop it? Or what are you doing to make UD a better place right now? Because it's not in a good spot. That's my last point on that. But it's fascinating to me just going to the media and just talking about the negatives. Well, what are you going to do about it? Because there was nothing about what they're doing about it as far as that's concerned. And they have collectives. They have collectives, but that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, it really just goes back to what Mike Bray said like last year. I want to say he's the former Notre Dame head coach. I forget where he's coaching now, but basically adapt or shut up. And it's a situation now where we're 2.5 years into NIL, going to be 3 in July. So it's to a point now where these type of things that ADs and coaches are upset about, they should have said that, got that off their chest at least a year ago. Because as of now, you should have a plan in place. Like the first year, you should be huffing and puffing about this isn't fair. And then the whole year goes by and then your guys get plucked. You get another year to complain about it. But now it's to the point of like, okay, we got to get a plan in place to see what we're going to do moving forward. You haven't heard Coach Day say anything about NIL. We haven't heard any rumblings about Ohio State's NIL collective being trash anymore, because guess what? They kind of fixed things. If you started noticing the recruiting rankings of Ohio State, not just the wide receivers and the quarterbacks, they're starting to land defensive players as well because they got their stuff together. So, for me, and not only for UD, it goes to the team that I follow, Syracuse. Hey, man, time's up with the complaining about NIL and all this is unfair. They're taking our best players, yada, 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 yada. All that stuff it may be true, but now it's time to adapt and make arrangements so you are able to retain the talent that you work so hard to recruit to come to your school. Now it's up to you to keep them at your school, and then obviously for the coach to win basketball games or football games. And in the case of a football coach or a basketball coach, this is the thing about it. Fans are going to get mad at the product on the court, and they're going to point the finger at the coach. But the coach really can't do anything about the NIL. The coach is there to coach the guys and to bring in guys. He could have the best relationship with the number one recruit in the country. But if the money ain't there, what is coach supposed to do? So that is why it's up to the athletic director to work things out with the collectives and get a game plan in place to make sure these places continue to get talent, because we all know what's going to ultimately happen. If they're unable to get those talented guys, they're not going to win enough games. They're going to be like, oh, man, we got to blame somebody. Coach, it's your fault. You're fired. They're going to bring in another coach. Coach is going to do his him and the horn. Like, we're going to bring in the talent. We're going to bring in the talent. Hey, what's up with the NIL? Oh, no, we don't have the NIL to bring in those guys. Oh, wow, we're only going to win 18 to 20 games. Oh, the cycle is just going to continue and continue unless you're able to fix the problem. And the problem is getting your collectives and your NIL in order, not going to the media and constantly complaining about it.
So with that being said, I actually don't think Dayton's problem right now is NIL. I actually don't think it's the transfer portal. I think it's just living up to expectations. You stop blaming injuries, stop blaming NIL, stop blaming the transfer portal, because the thing is the injuries didn't keep you from winning 20-plus games, getting to the A-10 title game, finishing third in your league, and all that stuff. You were good enough to win all those. You have 2 NBA players on your roster. Win those. You win and live up to expectations. We're not talking about Tumani Kamara leaving. We're not talking about Deron Holmes leaving. And if we are talking about them leaving, we're talking about them going to the draft. And those are wins. Those are success stories that you take out on the recruiting trail. What you can't do a take out on the recruiting trail is, yeah, we kind of failed when we had Tumani Kamara and Deron Holmes. That's why Deron Holmes went to Duke, and that's why Tumani Kamara ended up going to the league and all this stuff or whatever, and all that. Like, Tumani Kamara could go to the league, and I guess you could say that's a success story, but he also wasn't being viewed as a top draft pick, still isn't, but he's being viewed now to go in the draft because he goes to this little camp, and they're playing fast, up-tempo basketball, and he's killing it. And they're like, well, where has this been all year? Oh, it's been stifled by the horrendous offensive scheme that they were running up and down. So it's like those are things that could be fixed by just living up to expectations, and the rest takes care of itself.
I did want to touch on the Deron Holmes to Duke thing. I don't get it. I don't get that fit for him. Obviously, he knows his game way better than I know his game. But if I'm him and I'm looking at transferring as opposed to going to the pros, I'm going somewhere that features the big man and has shooting and that plays a fast tempo, like a Memphis, like a Tennessee, like a Gonzaga. Yes, Duke plays fast. They have good outside shooting, but they really don't feature their big man a lot. It's a lot of just he'll basically be being a garbage man, getting the rebound, putting it back up, or getting the rebound, kicking it back out. At Memphis, they feature the big man and they run very fast. Same thing at Tennessee. And I mean, look at Gonzaga's offense. It's threes and it's get it to the big man at the free throw line and let him back down or blow past somebody or shoot the jumper, which he can do. Now, I don't think he can shoot to the three ball like Timmy did for like 20 years at Gonzaga, but like you put him in that offense with all those shooters around him, it's showtime. Now, obviously, I don't want him to leave. If you're going to leave, go to the pros. But like, I would look at those options. I would look at Gonzaga, Memphis, Tennessee. I think those are a better fit for at least from what I've seen of his skill set. Granted, this antiquated offense that they run last year because of the injuries of the point guards and everything like that. I don't know all the other things that he can do, but I know for sure you put him in that high flying offense at Tennessee or at Memphis. Oh,
look out.
Oh, look up. You know that thing the kids do? He's gonna be doing that a lot.
And to be clear, those are all rumors that are about the Duke thing. Let's be clear. Duke's the easy school to say when you have an elite talent, go to Duke, right? Like,
right.
That hasn't changed. But I will say, I saw someone post on Facebook the other day, him and another Dayton Flyers player, they were speaking at some school event. They were at some elementary school or middle school.
Love that.
Speaking to the class. So I don't know. I'm not saying that that's a sign that he's not leaving, but you know what I mean? Usually if you know you're leaving or if you let the team know you're leaving, you're not as involved in team activities or anything like that. Who knows what that meant as far as that's concerned. But yeah, it's interesting nonetheless. Kenner and Cav with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. David Shaw weighs in, Cav. It's been a while since we've heard.
What's up, Shaw?
Shaw says, I disagree, Kev. Duke hasn't had a big man. Oh, there's a different comment, but he goes, I disagree, Kev. Duke hasn't had a big man like him for quite some time. When Duke does, they run the offense through him. But he also said, well, I'll let you respond to that.
Well, they got like 3 of their dudes came back. Like all those McDonald's All-Americans that they had last year that were freshmen. 2 of the 3 came back for their sophomore year, and then they're bringing in 2 more like wing players. So it's like, is he going to be able to get the ball enough? Like, because, I mean, let's be clear, man. Like, this is really all about showcasing your talents for the next level. This isn't necessarily about, anything else. It's about showcasing what you can do at the next level and, going far in the tournament. All those teams out there, like a Memphis or a Gonzaga, they have high-level basketball players, upperclassmen at that, and that you're not going to be competing with. Like, they're bringing in a lot of competition at his spot already. Like, so he could potentially be coming off the bench at Duke.
Yep.
You go to Gonzaga, it's boop. The role that Timmy played, boop. That's where he's going to play off the rip. They don't have anybody else there to do that. So he's going to do that. I mean, I know we didn't get to see Chet Holmgren play in the NBA this year, but go rewind 2 years. Chet Holmgren, when he was at Gonzaga, Deron Holmes, boop. That's what he's going to do. He's going to get at the high post, going to play some high-low. He's going to score a lot. They're not going to be able to trap down on the paint because they got shooters all around. So he's going to be able to work one-on-one. He's going to be able to work on one-on-one from the high post and the low post. At Duke, might be the 6th man. Not a Gonzaga.
You're saying leaving days on the problem. It's going to Duke that would be the problem.
Yes. I mean, if you're going to go to Duke, like, you might just be a guy on the team. And if your goal is to, be a part of a winning team and potentially win the national championship, by all means. But if the goal is to really showcase your skill set, then I think it's a Gonzaga or a Memphis or a Tennessee or even stay at UD, because if they hit on a point guard, it's really you just need a point guard. You just need a point guard and everything will be okay. But are they going to be able to land said point guard?
And their point guard, obviously, in Malachi Smith.
Yeah.
Hurt. I mean, we're talking about that major surgery. Who knows when he'll be ready to go? And if he is ready to go in this season, it'll be the same thing as last season, where every time he didn't play well, it's, he came into the season injured.
Right.
Well, at what point does he consider not injured? And I feel like Flyers fans will give the same excuse again heading into next season if that's the case. He needs the point guard, but he also needs shooters around him, stuff that UD just does not have right now, or it's not proven. And that's why it's a gamble. I think Deron Holmes coming back is a huge gamble because there's nobody proven around him that'll be given the pieces that he's confident in. I agree with you. Duke is kind of strange to me, other than just saying I can get to the league because I have the Duke plastered across my chest or whatever. Who knows? But Shaw also says, I believe everything you guys are talking about is the death of the non-Power 5 schools in the current era of college sports. Shaw, I'd agree with you if we all just didn't watch the Final Four.
Right.
Like, if anything, that's more of an indictment on Dayton than anything is with that team, you should have dominated college basketball. The parity across the board. Like, it's not like there were these teams that were so good that kept you buried at the bottom. Dayton gets in with that type of talent. There's no reason why they couldn't have made similar runs like what we watched with obviously San Diego State and Florida Atlantic and others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said this the day after the men's championship game. I think it's going to be in the next 3 to 4 years where a non-Power 5 team wins the national championship. And I know that hasn't happened probably since maybe UNLV, like in 1990, like one of those, like from a smaller school conference wins it all. But I mean, it helps when you have Larry Johnson on your team. But I think it's going to be a situation where like these high level guys are at a Kentucky, at a Duke, at a North Carolina, at a Kansas, and they're not getting enough playing time there their freshman year. And they decide, you know what, let's all team up and go to Wright State. Let's go to, I don't know, Florida Atlantic. Let's go to FAMU. Who knows? They all decide to go there and they go ahead and win the thing. It's going to happen because that's normal. I mean, you think about what happened at Kentucky with John Wall and Boogie Cousins and everything like that. They all went there because Boogie Cousins kind of like recruited the rest of those guys to go there. That's all it takes is one like big name guy to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to this school. Who's coming with me?
Did you say Conley and Odin?
Yeah.
That was that Conley Odin group.
Conley,
because they all played that AU
Cook
stuff. Yeah.
All Ohio Red. Yeah, like that's all it really takes is for somebody to, you know, quote unquote, think outside the box and say, hey man, this school is pretty cool. I want y'all to come here. Why y'all going there? Let's just come here all together and team up and go ahead, win it one year, and then we ride off into the sunset. Do the things that, you know, John Wall and his team weren't able to do. Things that the Fab Five from Michigan was unable to do. Do the things that Conley and Odin were unable to do. Be a starting group as a freshman and go win it and bounce.
Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
The NBA playoffs are here, and you can turn crossovers into cash with FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com/Kinner right now and place a $5 bet, and you'll get an instant $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Look, I love working with FanDuel, but I have to admit that I'm a little jealous of this deal for new customers. $150 in bonus bets once you place your first $5 bet. There are so many great promotions every day, similar to this one, for existing and new customers alike. There's no better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Just go to FanDuel.com/Kinner and sign up to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet your first $5. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 and older and present in Ohio. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check them out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
Add even more curb appeal to your home with a visit to Snyder Brick and Block and Snyder Hardscapes. From stone, brick, aggregates, and topsoil, Snyder is dedicated to assisting with your next home improvement project. Visit our 2 large Dayton showrooms at 2301 West Dorothy Lane and 1733 Industrial Estates Drive for expert advice. If your project needs patio building products like flagstone, pavers, and retaining walls, we've got you covered. Visit us in person or online at SnyderOnline.com. Snyder Brick and Block, where quality makes the difference.
An exciting new career is waiting. KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris is now hiring industrial equipment technicians and offers outstanding starting pay, including shift premium, up to $30.49 an hour. This is an excellent new opportunity that offers an attractive benefit package, medical, dental, and 401k. KTH offers the advantage of being a short drive from home, just minutes from Bell Fountain, Troy, Piqua, and Urbana. The position will fill quickly, so please apply now at kth.net. KTH is proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Want to experience a truly unbeatable trio? Stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and try a 3-piece strips meal at a great price. You'll get 3 of our freshly marinated honey-dipped premium strips, 1 famous dipping sauce, 2 unbeatable sides, and a fluffy biscuit. It's the trifecta of craveable chicken. Discover why premium strips make the perfect meal. Pick up a 3-piece strips meal from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
$3 breakfast deal. Choose either the bacon or sausage, egg and Swiss croissant, plus a small seasoned potatoes for just $3. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
You had more time. Well, we better hurry it up then. The hurry up.
All right, Kev Nash brings us the hurry up.
All right, number 1, the Pac-12 has been in talks with the CW about potential media rights.
For one, the CW.
Yes, sir.
I mean, at this point, and good for the CW. Look, I think you're seeing a lot of networks and channels that normally wouldn't even entertain the idea of trying to get in bed with some of these college, conferences or whatever. There's, while these conferences are hanging on for dear life, some of these networks like the CW, they see an opportunity. The Pac-12 may not help some of the bigger networks out there, but the CW can get a conference like the Pac-12, put college football on it, and they're going to see a major spike in their ratings and revenue and all that type of stuff. Good for them. I don't know how great it is or bad it is for the Pac-12. What's left? So there's Oregon's still there. So Oregon's the face of the Pac-12 at this point. I don't like it. Put it there. That's where people are going to tune in to watch. I've always said that too. I don't think we're Ohio State fans. Is there a network that they could put Ohio State on that we're going to say, well, I guess we're not watching it then? We're going to find ways to watch it. If the product is there that you want to watch, you're going to tune in and watch it. I think college football Saturdays, no matter what network it's on, channel it's on, we're going to tune in and watch it. I think it's a bigger win for the CW than the Pac-12 if that ends up being the case, but we'll see what happens.
Definitely better talking to the CW than Owen, because Owen was the last TV network they were tied to. At least I've heard of the CW.
What's that? It's Owen? Is that
one
one of them?
I think it was Owen, because I thought we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. They were in talks with another network. I believe it was Owen. I think that's what it was. But either way, I don't have it.
When I hear that, I hear Owen 16. That's all I hear.
I don't have Owen, so I have the CW. So I want Pac-12 to be on the CW.
Look, leave Owen alone. Look, anytime there's less Law and Order SVU reruns on and less Impractical Jokers on, I don't know if that's what that channel is, but don't make the world a worse place by taking shows like that off for college football, right? No. Look, CW, we at least, like you said, at least it's a familiar brand,
right?
As far as that's concerned.
And college football is all about brands. All right, number 2, Steph Curry has been given $75 million in stock from Under Armour after being named Under Armour's president of the Curry brand.
So they just keep giving him more and more and more. He got the lifetime contract a few years ago, and now they're giving him stock, which, by the way, that's there's more opportunities to make money. I mean, heck, you got a lifetime deal by them. Now you're getting even more money on top of that with the stock. I mean, these athletes are going to make so much money post-playing days that, you never want to say that guys are going to retire earlier and earlier. He's a basketball lifer. He still has a couple more years left, but that dude will not be hurting for money post-playing days. That's for sure.
I think this is so cool, man. I mean, Jay-Z has a famous line that he says, they'll run you a check, but they never give you leverage. We're starting to see that these companies are getting athletes leverage. And when you get stock in the company and that much stock in the company, you're starting to get some major leverage.
So I've talked about this the last couple of weeks, but the NBA is one of those things where I used to love the NBA. Now I just like the NBA. And for all the reasons that I don't love the NBA anymore, I'm just now entering a demo that does not find the NBA as flattering, but the demo that it is touching is thriving. And with that being said, that is why you have these big time apparel companies and anything like that, just giving anything and everything to these athletes because the ROI is there. This is not a situation where the CW is sneaking in and trying to give stock away or anything like that. Like, these are biggest brands in the world that are doing these types of partnerships with the athletes. So just because I may not be interested in the NBA from like the way I used to be, doesn't mean that it's not thriving, because these types of athletes are not getting these deals if no one cares about who they are or what they're doing. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Speaking of the NBA's playing game, the doubleheader drew 2.6 million viewers across ESPN on Wednesday, up 19% from last season.
Oh, I knew Kev was smiling, typing this, smiling. He's like, all right, Kenner, let's see what you got there, dude. Y'all like bad basketball. It's fine. I also saw your tweet. I saw your tweet. I was like, damn it, Kev. All right.
Remind me of my tweet.
It said, man, I'm look forward to working with Kenner every day.
I do?
Yeah. But no. So
I'll have to
the
find
sad
my
thing
tweet.
is you tweet quite a lot. You know what the hell tweet I'm talking about. But you had to rip on the first one. And let's be clear, I don't like preseason football.
Yes, you do.
No, I like
Yes,
week
you
one.
do.
I like week one of the preseason. And because after being absent of football all the
How
time,
many times are we going to hear you talk about the Hall of Fame game?
That's the first football game after a drought of no
Garbage.
football. And the Browns are in it.
I've got to find my tweet now. I want to read it. I want to make sure everybody knows
How
where
can
I'm
y'all
coming from.
crap on the play-in, but like preseason football in the first four? And the first four is not a play-in tournament. Damn it, that's an actual tournament.
I can't find it. Where is it? This is impossible.
Twitter
This is
buried.
bad. This is bad for radio.
Elon Musk said, "Yeah, we're not that."
Okay, here it is. So y'all don't like the NBA play-in tournament, but love the first four in NFL preseason.
Look, they had 82 games to prove that they stink. Now you got to give them more games. I mean, come on.
So bad
if
teams
the
can't
ratings-
play entertaining games?
If you're into that, look, if the ratings are there, it doesn't matter what I think. At the end of it, it doesn't matter what the naysayers on the page think. So let's be clear. Just because you like it doesn't mean that that's what the ratings are up either. Let's just be clear.
All right, Royal McIlroy, I'm sure I just butchered his name, has been docked $3 million after missing his second designated event of the PGA Tour this season.
So did it give the reason why he missed
It doesn't. It does not. It just
talk
does
about
not.
ratings, by the way. So my little Tiger Woods, it's a bad week for me. A couple weeks for me. All my takes are just wrong because, Tiger Woods is everything that's wrong about the Masters. I said the Masters would be not burying Tiger here and burying golf, because I was like, Tiger's just a reminder that there's no other Tiger out there. No one cares. But Tiger Woods, of course, he, did make the first cut and then he withdrew from it. I mean, that was actually sad, by the way, watching it. Like, I'm always a little hard on that. I'm like, oh, it's funny how when Tiger's golfing well, his back's just fine. But my gosh, he golfs poor and all of a sudden he's holding his back. I ain't never making fun of that again, because that was just, regardless of sports opinions, when you see an elite athlete or anyone, but like a Tiger Woods who's been through, car crashes, women beating him with clubs. I mean, whatever it is, he survives it all. But to see him barely, to barely be able to walk, that was kind of tough to watch or whatever. But the ratings were through the roof. There were significant increases in the ratings in the final weekend and that Sunday. Usually those ratings start to kind of drift a little bit after Tiger's out, but that was not the case. And say what you want, but I think LIV, not NIL, but LIV, Live Golf, I think has played a role in that too, because there's bad guys and good guys.
Yeah.
Now before it was just all golfers. Now it's good guys versus bad guys, and they're all golfing together and not liking one another. So I think that had a lot to do with it as well. But McIlroy, I'm not really sure what led to those absences as far as those events are concerned.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, what do you think about the fine, though? I mean, $3 million?
Oh, dang. The Mavericks, what did they just get fined, by the way?
They got fined, was it $175,000?
That's what I'm saying. Like a team that
I think it was $175,000.
It was and they keep calling it a significant fine. I'm like, not millions. I mean, they took thousands away from them, but this is millions that they took from him. That's pretty intense.
Real quick on the Mavericks thing, like if you really want to punish them for what you deem them tanking or whatever, take the draft picks. That's what you really do, because the money ain't a thing. I mean, we all know that Mark Cuban is a billionaire 10 times over. The organization's worth about $6-7 billion itself. So finding them under $1 million ain't nothing to them. What's something to them is finding them draft picks. That's how you really hit them in the wallet.
And I've always said, professional leagues, stop pretending you care about that stuff. You reward the teams for losing every year. Don't pretend that you care here. And again, they didn't really pretend, because that fine was nothing. Mark Cuban's like, I'll do it again next year if I have to. Like,
Right.
that wasn't anything.
Because
But you're right. Draft picks, that's where you get
Yeah,
it.
because if they ultimately somehow come up with the number one pick and draft Big Vic, it was all worth it. You know what I'm saying? But you take that pick away, they'll never do it again. All right, last one. Alabama quarterback Bryce Young scored an amazing 98 on his S2 cognitive test. Bryce Young scored above quarterbacks such as Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Justin Fields, all of which were in the 90s.
Look, and the teams put a lot of stock into this. More power to them. I don't know why fans care about these types of things. I know I don't. I just need to know. I don't care if you played school or took school serious. I don't really care. Just can you play football? We pretend to care about the schooling aspect when they're in college. We don't have to pretend about how smart they are in the pros. You could be kind of goofy and still win in the NFL, so more power to you. But I don't think it's a coincidence that he nails all those tests, and now all of a sudden all these reports coming out that, we were leaning towards Stroud, but I think we got to go with this Bryce Young fella. I don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden that's what got him back into being the favorite to go number 1 overall. Who knows?
Yeah, so this S2 cognitive test is not the Wonderlic test. The Wonderlic test, anybody can take this.
Can we take that? We should take that.
Oh, absolutely. I would kill the Wonderlic. But this S2 test is specifically based for quarterbacks. So it basically evaluates your processing skills about the quarterbacking position. So this is just nailing home all the things that, all the draft pundits have been saying outside of the he's a winner stuff, like that he processes information very quickly. He knows where the ball should go very quickly, as opposed to, hold on, wait, let me think, and then getting sacked or throwing a bad pass. So this just reemphasizes what they've seen on tape already. Like, okay, not only we see it on tape and him doing it on the chalkboard, but he does it on this written exam as well. So it's just more of what they already know.
So right now it says I have 12 minutes to answer as many of these 50 questions as possible. Question number 1: on Tuesday and Wednesday, cab fare costs $7.75. On Monday and Thursday, cab fare costs $6.30. On Friday, cab fare costs $7. What was the average daily cost? This is you can't use calculator, can't use nothing, and then you just go to the next question. The 10th month of the year is so when folded
October.
When folded into a solid shape, which corner touches corner A? And it's just a bunch of triangles. Oh, we're gonna take this Wonderlic test. We're gonna find out. We're gonna see who just scores better on this old Wonderlic test. I might as well call this a Kinder test. I'm gonna own this test.
You did want to be a teacher back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here I am. I was wrong then. I'm wrong every day now.
Real quick, I know we got to go to break. Remember the proficiency test in high school? At what grade did you have all of yours complete?
What were those? Those were elementary, right?
Those are the high school proficiency.
What was the middle school ones that you had to take?
I didn't have to take those. I'm older than you. I only had to take the high school one.
Wasn't a test guy. That's why when I went to college, I took all the classes that I just had to turn. I would rather turn in a 10-page paper for every, and that's what I didn't really take any exams in college. It was all the classes I took were basically just turning a paper at the end. I loved that. I loved it. I'd pull all-nighters.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'd just be drinking a ton of coffee. Damn it. I got all the stone hands. OBJ impersonation right there. I'd stay up on. I loved writing papers. I like writing stories.
I was a test guy. Because you can prepare. You can prepare for them. A paper is writing. I don't know what I'm writing about. Give me the question. I'll give you the answer.
Well, the Wonderlic test. It's a wonderful thing. Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. That was Kev Nash's The Hurry Up.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The forecast says a chance of showers and 58 tonight. Showers and possible thunderstorms, 79 Saturday. Rain and 74 on Sunday. I'm Rick Schrepp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Carol Wirtz Tire and Auto Service at 730 South Patterson in Dayton, where they treat every vehicle like their own and every customer like family. Online at c-wtire.com.
Hi, this is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and best-selling author on safety and preparedness. The fact is, things are getting downright scary for everyone who's storing their wealth in the banks. We just saw the collapse of 3 major banks, and I would urge you to consider protecting your wealth ASAP. If even a tiny percentage of Americans attempt to withdraw their savings, we would see a collapse of the entire banking system, sending us into a modern-day Great Depression. Fortunately, there is a way for you to avoid this. It starts with contacting Advantage Gold. If you have an IRA or 401k, Advantage Gold can help convert those paper assets into physical gold and silver. This is the process that I recommend everybody use as a hedge against rapid inflation and to protect your retirement wealth from the banks. Take control of your financial safety today. Call 800-900-8000 to get your free gold investment kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Why? Just think about it. Why is the #1 selling brand of chainsaws not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot? We can give you over 10,000 reasons. That's how many authorized local steel dealers you can find across the country. Visit one and you'll find a range of dependable gas and battery-powered tools, from trimmers to blowers. And you'll find service from experienced professionals. Real steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Dell Technologies provides growing businesses with the tools to do incredible things. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Want to feed your family without breaking the bank? Take a trip to Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 16-piece family meal at a great price. With 16 pieces of our classic honey-dipped, hand-breaded Famous Recipe Chicken, 4 craveable large sides, and 8 fluffy biscuits. It's affordable eats done right. Treat your crowd to the best for less with the Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken 16-piece family meal. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
If you haven't been to Chevrolet of Troy, you have to stop in today. What makes us different? A state-of-the-art dealership offering experience, service, parts, and body shop. We're the only dealership in Miami County with an on-site body shop, and we make it easy with experienced, tenured professionals ready to answer your questions and diagnose your vehicle quickly. Our priority is customer service. Make Chevrolet of Troy your first choice for service, parts, and body shop. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org.
No audio, you're good. Kenner and Kev back with you here, 1410 ESPN Radio. We are Dayton's radio home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, and the spring game will be tomorrow, a noon kickoff, 11:45 coverage begins. It's not really a kickoff, I guess. It's just a lot of situational drills and that type of thing. And really, Kev's going to be there. I've only been to one spring game. People laugh, really try to overhype that spring game. I'm like, I'm not, but it's an opportunity to go watch the Buckeyes at the shoe on the field. And it's supposed to be a beautiful day tomorrow. Chance of rain, but it's okay. I'm gambling more. You've spent $7 on tickets. I'm spending a lot of money to go golf tomorrow. I think I'm gambling more than you are as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I dropped a whole $15 on tickets. Look, man, it's not about going to the spring game. I think I said this a couple weeks ago. I'm not making fun of anybody that goes to the spring game. I will make fun of you for watching the spring game. Just same way I make
Kenner
fun.
likes preseason football, but I'm going to the spring game.
Same way I will make. Now, I won't make fun of people who go to preseason football, but I will make fun of you for watching preseason football on your TV.
So that Hall of Fame game, when it's on, like we'll be without football for months at that point.
I'm going to make fun of
it. Won't even slightly interest you. I ain't tuning in to watch the play. It's NFL teams cracking pads in Canton. Have some local pride, dude.
If you went to the Hall of Fame game, wouldn't make fun of you.
We might be going to the Hall of Fame game. We're trying to work out a deal to go to the show from the Hall of Fame
and I'll
game.
say that on the air when we up there.
I'm gonna say, oh, yeah,
everybody here, you're awesome. Everybody watching on TV, you're weird.
Kev Nash, we're taking the show out a lot more this year. We went to opening day.
Yes.
We're going to be
the real game.
Hall of Fame game. The Summer Slam.
Yes.
Are we getting Summer Slam tickets? Is that the rumor?
The rumor is we're going to have Summer Slam tickets and premium seats as well.
What does premium seats mean? Like premium, not have a beam in front of you. You don't need your binoculars out. Like you
premium, like you might be involved in the action.
Oh, there we go. That's premium.
Yeah.
Premium seats. WWE SummerSlam tickets will tell you how you could win a pair.
Wear
next
your
week.
mouthpiece.
So Reds baseball coming up later on tonight. 6:40 the first pitch. 6:10 pregame coverage.
4-pack of tickets at the website.
Yes, there we go. And that's what I was going to say. Right now, while the Reds are 2 games under 500, this is a fun team to watch right now. They haven't been bombarded by injuries or anything else right now. In fact, they're getting guys back. But right now is the fun time of year. It's beautiful outside. It hasn't got that scorching hot temperatures yet. I know for me, my wife has a rule. We can go to games in April and May, but once June, July, and August is there, she refuses to go to GABP. We can maybe sneak a game in September, if in the spring when it starts cooling down, or in the fall when it starts cooling down. But it's a beautiful time of year to go to a ball game. If you want a chance to win a family 4-pack of Reds tickets, head to wingam.com right now. And take advantage of that. All right, so speaking of the spring game, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors, we had a chance to catch up with him. Not really preview the spring game, but to talk about the storylines heading into the spring game. I'm team, Scarlet Gray. Who's going to win this? It's going to come down to the final drive. Who will win? Are you team Scarlet or
coming
team
down
Gray?
to the final drill?
Yeah. you team Gray or team Scarlet?
I'm going with Scarlet.
Team Gray.
All
the
right.
way. Baby, there we go. Now, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors next.
Go Bucks.